Worst cities to live in the US. Deciding on the right city to live in will always require some compromise. A city like New York may have a booming job market, but it is also one of the most expensive places in the country. Alternatively, while a dollar may go a long way in Houston, residents of the South Texas city are also nearly 3 times more likely to be a victim of a violent crime than the typical American. While there is no such thing as the perfect city, the United States is full of places with few, if any, strengths. Poor socioeconomic conditions tell a similar story of urban blight in dozens of cities across the country. We've created an index of over 24 measures to identify the worst cities to live in. These cities tend to have high crime rates, widespread poverty, weak job markets, and little in the way of entertainment options or cultural attractions. Conditions like this tend to be more common in areas with lower educational attainment. In every city on this list, the share of adults with a 4-year college degree falls short of the 30.9% national bachelor's degree attainment rate. In 19 of these cities, fewer than 1 in every 10 adults have a bachelor's degree. Though the cities on this list span every region of the country, they are overwhelmingly concentrated in the South and the West. Only a dozen of the 50 cities on this list are in the Midwest or Northeast. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 worst cities to live in the US. And wait till you see number 4 that we're going to be showing in this video. Something I would never have even thought of, so make sure you watch till the end. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel Trip Xtreme for more awesome top 10s, and make sure to hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So without further ado, let's cut to the chase. Number 10. Avenal, California. Population 13,119. Poverty rate 36.3%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 548. Median home value $129,900. Avenal, California ranks as one of the 10 worst cities to live in, part because it is losing jobs at a much faster rate than almost anywhere else in the country. From 2012 to 2017, employment dropped by more than 23% in the California city. This is at least partially explained by the fact that, in the same time period, the city's population dropped by 14.5%. Real estate in California is typically much more expensive than the average nationwide, as most homes cost more than $440,000 compared to the median of $193,500 nationwide. Yet in Avenal, the typical home is worth less than $130,000, a reflection of low incomes in the area. More than 1 in every 3 Avenal residents live below the poverty line. At number 9, Anniston, Alabama. Population 22,097. Poverty rate 29.5%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 3,434. Median home value $95,700. Like many cities on this list, Anniston, Alabama is losing residents. In the last 5 years, Anniston's population declined by 4.2%. Over the same period, the number of people working in the city fell by a staggering 10.9%. The city's population decline may be attributable to low incomes and a high violent crime rate. The typical household in Anniston earns just $32,070 a year. Additionally, there were 3,434 violent crimes for every 100,000 people in Anniston in 2017, the most of any city in the country. At number 8, Waianae, Hawaii. Population 13,636. Poverty rate 27.0%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people, not applicable. Median home value $339,500. Waianae, Hawaii is one of the few cities on this list with a higher median income than the US as a whole. The typical household in the city earns $60,282 a year, or $2,630 more than the typical American household. Bigger paychecks are not nearly enough to cover the high cost of living in Waianae, however. Goods and services in the area are 61.4% more expensive than they are on average nationwide. The high cost of living imposes an especially heavy burden on the relatively large share of Waianae residents living below the poverty line. Of the city's 13,636 residents, 27% live in poverty, a higher poverty rate than in over 90% of US cities. Next up, it's number 7, Bastrop, Louisiana. Population 10,643. Poverty rate 43.5%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people $1,511. Median homes value $73,000. In Bastrop, Louisiana, there were 1,511 violent crimes reported for every 100,000 residents in 2017. That means violent crimes occurred there nearly 4 times as frequently as they did in America as a whole. Crime is often more common in poorer areas, and Bastrop has one of the highest poverty rates of any US city. Some 43.5% of residents live below the poverty line, nearly 3 times higher than the US poverty rate. Like many other cities that rank among the worst places to live, Bastrop is losing a significant portion of its residents. In the past 5 years, the city's population fell by 6.2%. Next up at 6, Bessemer, Alabama. Population 26,697, poverty rate 29.7%, 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 2,986, median home value $84,000. With 2,986 violent crimes reported per 100,000 residents a year, Bessemer, Alabama has the second highest violent crime rate in the nation, trailing only to Anniston, Alabama. Bessemer also has the 6th highest property crime rate with nearly 9,800 reported property crimes per 100,000 residents. In addition to high crime, residents face a number of economic challenges. Nearly 30% of residents live in poverty, and more than 1 in 3 residents have low access to grocery store or supermarkets. The typical Bessemer home earns less than $32,000 a year, well below the US median annual household income of $57,652. At number 5, Highland Park, Michigan. Population 10,955. Poverty rate 49%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 1,701. Median home value $33,500. Highland Park, Michigan ranks as the 5th worst city to live in the country, in part because it is the poorest American city by a wide margin. Highland Park's median annual household income is $15,699, nearly $42,000 lower than the US median. It is the only city in the nation in which most households earn less than $20,000 a year. In Highland Park, which is within the Detroit metro area, 49% of residents live below the poverty line, one of the highest poverty rates nationwide. The city's 5-year average unemployment rate of 13.2% is well above the comparable US rate of 4.1%. The economic situation in Highland Park has worsened in recent years. From 2012 to 2017, employment has dropped more than 15%. And now, surprisingly at number 4, Makaha, Hawaii. Population 8,832, poverty rate 30.1%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people not available. Median home value $407,200. Makaha is the worst city to live in Hawaii and among the 5 worst in the country. Like other cities in the state, Makaha ranks poorly, largely because of its high cost of living and low affordability. Goods and services are 61.4% more expensive in the city than they are on average nationwide. Housing is particularly unaffordable. The typical home in Makaha is worth nearly $564,000, about 8 times the median annual household income in the city of $51,833. Meanwhile, the typical American home is worth $193,500, just 3.4 times the median income of $57,652. Makaha is also struggling with a high jobless rate. The census estimates that an average of 9.7% of the city's labor force has been out of work over the last 5 years, more than double the comparable national unemployment rate of 4.1%. At number 3, California City, California. Population 13,495. Poverty rate 29.9%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 640. Median home value $102,000. California City, California residents are some of the most likely to be unemployed. Over the past 5 years, the average unemployment rate in city was 10.7%, according to census estimates. Over the same period, employment in the city fell by 11.3%. This lack of jobs likely contributes to the city's 29.9% poverty rate, which is more than double that of the US as a whole. Home values in California are some of the highest in the nation, with a $443,400 median value statewide. Yet in California City, the median home value is just $102,000, a reflection of lower incomes in the area. At least half of all households earn less than $46,000 a year. Number 2. Florida City, Florida. Population 12,149. Poverty rate 41.2%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 2,276. Median home value $110,800. Florida City is the most dangerous city in the state. There were 2,276 violent crimes reported for every 100,000 residents in 2017, nearly 6 times higher than the national violent crime rate. The city, located about 35 miles south of Miami, also has a high property crime rate. Property crimes include burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft, and there were 7,925 reported incidents of these crimes for every 100,000 residents in 2017, more than triple the national property crime rate. High crime areas are often lower income, and the share of people living below the poverty line in Florida City is staggering. Florida City's 41.2% poverty rate is higher than in over 90% of all other US cities. And finally, number 1. Mendota, California. Population 11,396. Poverty rate 49.5%. 2017 violent crimes per 100,000 people 646. Median home value $139,000. For both individuals and broad populations, incomes tend to rise with educational attainment. In Mendota, California, just 1.8% of adults have a bachelor's degree, the smallest share of any US city. The city also has one of the poorest populations in the country. Half of all households earn less than $27,500 a year, and 49.5% of the population lives below the poverty line. The widespread financial insecurity is partially attributable to a lack of jobs. The census estimates that an average of 15.4% of the city's labor force were unemployed in the last 5 years, the highest unemployment rate of any US city and more than triple the comparable 4.1% national rate. And there you have the top 10 worst cities to live in the US. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel Trip Xtreme for more fantastic top 10 lists. So see you next time.